Hi everyone, I would also like to welcome you to our webinar. Today I would present revenue and expense deferrals, which helps companies with amortization of maintenance and service related contract revenue and expense amounts over the life of the contract. The application can be configured to process transactions from any module of Sage 300 ERP, including third-party applications, as long as they support transaction analysis and optional fields creator module. How does the application work? First, it identifies transactions that should be processed. Then it defers revenue and expense amounts and creates schedule for recognition. And finally, it recognizes the amount as per the schedule. For example, we have an invoice on January 1st for $2,400. This is a transaction that will take place if $2,400 will be credited to your sales and debited to your AR control. Now with revenue and expense deferral application, what will happen? First, this amount will be deferred from the revenue account to the deferred revenue account. Then a schedule will be created. In this case, let's say this is for 1 year, so the amount will be split into 12 periods, and every month a correct portion of the revenue will be recognized. 200 will be recognized in January, February, March, and so on until the entire amount is recognized. So without revenue recognition, you would have 2,400 recognized in January, whereas with revenue and expense deferrals, you will have 2,400 split into the contract periods. Let me show you this on example from Sage 300 ERP. First, I will create sale order for customer 1,400. I will create it as usual, no difference here. I'll select an item. Let's say we have a subscription for 1 year. And this is 1 year and the price is 2,400. Now, in addition to the standard things, what I will do, I will enter several optional fields which are required by revenue and expense deferrals. I will have defer from, so this is a contract, subscription starts for the year 2010, January 1st, and it ends in 31st of December 2010. Deferment period is monthly. And deferment method will be straight line. What I will do, I will now post this, I will ship it all, create an invoice. Let's give some name to your invoice so it will be easier to identify it. Invoice 0001 and post it. Revenue and expense deferrals takes into consideration only the transactions which are already posted in general ledger. So I will run the entire cycle. And then we will post the transaction in general ledger. Now what is important here is that my general ledger and my Sage 300 ERP is being configured in a way that optional fields flow from order entry to the general ledger. This is very important because revenue and expense deferral will use this information to process the transactions. So I'll just post this and go to revenue and expense deferrals and run it. The application informs me that the deferral has been created and no transaction to recognize. Deferral batch is the batch which is transferring the amount from the revenue account to the deferred revenue account. Let's see what has been done. In general ledger, Now I have a new transaction from revenue and expense deferral, which is transferring 2,400 from my sales account, from my revenue account, to my deferred revenue account. In addition to this, the application has created a schedule how the amount should be recognized. The schedule actually depends on various settings. In my case, I want them to be recognized evenly. So the schedule has divided 2,400 into equal amounts throughout the year. And you can see that the first amount will be recognized in 31st of January. The second amount will be recognized in 28th of February. Let me log into the application with 28th of February. I'll just go to periodic processing and run the processing again. Okay. Now there is nothing to defer, but there are some amounts to be recognized. So if I go to General Ledger, I will see here a new batch created, and let's see what is in this new batch. We can see that 200 is recognized in 31st of January, and another 200 is recognized in 28th of February. And like this, the amount will be recognized in corresponding periods when required. A revenue and deferral also allows you to use templates. If your contracts have standardized information, you can define template and assign it to an item to speed up order entry process. For example, I have a 1-year subscription template created in the application where I'm saying that the contract starts from the date of the transaction plus 1 year. And in this case, I have added this template as an optional field to my item. And now when I'm entering the order entry, I don't have to do anything additional at all, because when I select the item, the template here appears automatically. So the user doesn't have to do any additional input. All they have to do is to process their transactions as usual. So I'll just enter it. I'll put quantity ordered as 1. The amount will be 1,000 in this case. Let's ship it all, create the invoice, and I'll just give an invoice the ID so it will be easier to recognize, INV002, and post. Now this time the invoice date is 28th of February. Let's go to AR and post it. Now we'll have this transaction in General Ledger. So let's verify that in General Ledger we have the optional field again. Post this transaction. All of the steps that I'm doing are just standard Sage 300 ERP processing, nothing special here. Now I will go to the special place. I'll go to periodic processing and I'll run the process. So there has been a deferral batch created, and again no transactions to be recognized. Let's see what has been created this time. You can see the deferral batch, which has deferred the 1,000. And if I go to revenue and expense deferral application, I can see that there is a new transaction added here. and I can see that the transactions is deferred from 28th of February till 27th of February next year, and this is happening because I have selected a template and I have said that the transaction start date is the same as the invoice date and transaction end date is 1 year after the invoice date. And the schedule has been created again according to my settings. In this case I have defined again equal, and actually I have defined in my setup that beginning partial period should be skipped. That's why the application has not calculated anything for the February. Now let's move to the reports and see what are the reports available in the application. We have the revenue flash report, which can be printed two types, a summary type and detail, showing the amount, how much is deferred and how much is still pending to be recognized. Let's sort it by batch number. If it is the summary, you can see that amount, how much has been recognized so far, and how much is still pending to be recognized. This information available in two currencies if you are using multi-currency. And the detail one again shows the same information. It just shows how much was recognized during each run. Now you can see that there was 2,400 deferred, and this was recognized. Next we have deferred revenue report. This one ages the unrecognized portion of transactions into 4 aging periods. Let's print this one and for our transactions and see what's going on here. And again you can see that for this transaction 400 is already recognized. Another 200 will be recognized within 60 days. Another 200 will be recognized within 90 days, and so on. And we also have here the Audit Log Report, which allows you to see the transactions which were posted to GL during deferral processing. For example, I can select here by source batch entry number. Let's select our transaction. Okay. Now here we can see that these amounts were posted to our sales account, and these are the amounts posted to our deferred revenue account. This is what I wanted to show you about revenue and expense deferral modules. Thank you.